Welcome to the PBC 2020 NBA Draft Remote Film Room. My name is Jon Chepkevich, Director of Scouting for the PBC, and joining me today is SMU forward and 2020 NBA Draft early entrant, Isiaha Mike. What's going on, Isiaha?
How's it going, Jon? Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. Going pretty well. Just, starting to come out of the quarantine bubble here a little bit. Stuff's opening up a little bit here in Chicago, slowly but surely. How about yourself? How are things going for you?
Things have been going well. Just been sticking to my grind, been in the gym, been doing my workouts outdoors as much as I can, just trying to get prepared for whatever's next.
For sure, man. Got to just find ways to make the best of this time. It's definitely an unusual pre-draft process right now and not normally how it would be going for you at this point in time. Like normally you would be, traveling to teams' facilities and working out alongside other draft prospects and kind of proving yourself against them. And while you're unable to do that now, thought this was a good time for us to do something different here and kind of just dig into your game film and chop it up about what you bring to the table, what translates really cleanly, maybe a couple minor areas to improve on, and just, go over your game together.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Cool. Let's do it. So we're going to start on the offensive side of the ball. And the first thing we're going to hit on here, I think is, I think you're a little bit of an underrated athlete. And, I actually got a chance to speak with your teammate, Ferran, and he's the guy who's known as being the high flyer, wingspan guy, crazy dunks, but you have quite a few yourself that really popped on tape. So didn't want that to go underappreciated. This one here is just absurd. And look at this bench reaction over there. You want to maybe just talk me through, I guess, firstly, what your read is on this play to begin it and how you ultimately end up, pivoting into this spin move. And, what does it feel like to throw one down like that gets your team so fired up?
Well, this is an ISO play. We went small. We were trying to attack the big man because he couldn't stay in front of either me or Ferran. So it was on this possession. It was my turn to attack the big.
Yep.
So you can see, I think that's Tyson in the corner, Tyson or Kendrick in the corner.
Yeah.
He's all the way flat, so he gives me really both ways. I can go either right or left, but I decided to take him hard right, attack Kendrick's help defender.
Yeah, and he's already in trouble right here. His feet are already crossed over, so you're in the spot anyway.
So I knew that I had him. If I had him beat going right, the spin would be wide open. So
yeah, and that's just awesome footwork. And then he does a okay job trying to get back in front of you, but that ends up kind of unfortunate for him with a dunk right on his head. So it's impressive for you to be able to kind of pull off that, that really good quick footwork and then have the explosiveness off 2 feet to pop up and get that dunk down. So definitely wanted to start off with a bang with that one. So now we're moving to, this is just another one. This one, the hang time on this is pretty great. So one thing that I noticed when combing through your synergy profile is that you stood out as a cutter. I think you were in maybe the 86th percentile as a cutter, 1.4 points per possession in those situations. And this play right here particularly highlights it. It goes to the corner. What are you reading right here? Is it just Hammond's eyes being that direction and you try to take advantage, or what are you seeing on this play?
I just saw the lane open. I knew that they were in transition, so they're going to be pretty scrambled. They didn't really match up all the way yet. And the guy that was guarding me, he sunk all the way to the basket and he opened it up. You can see like a part of the Red Sea. My eyes lit up, and once my eyes lit up, Ferran just knew to pass it to me.
Yep, and then this help side guy,
he had no chance.
It's a little bit too late, right?
He had no chance. There was a play before in this game where my coach, he got mad at me because I went up to go dunk it, but I didn't go up strong enough. He's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Don't worry, I got you." So the next opportunity I had was this one, and I flexed and I looked at him I glanced at him as soon as I turned around.
Yeah, getting your coach back for, something from earlier is always a good feeling. But B, I mean, the poster's always good, but in the game situation here too, right? You're down by 1, 6 minutes left in the game. That's a huge bucket on the road right there. So I'm sure that was a big momentum swinger for you guys in trying to finish out this game.
Oh yeah, this was a really, really close fought game.
Yeah. What when you guys, I mean, obviously you guys play a pretty tough schedule, but when you're going up against like a Power 5 team that has someone who's touted as a top 2 or 3 NBA draft selection, does that kind of light a little bit of extra fire under you going into that game?
Oh yeah, 100%. Because my entire career I've been underrated. I've kind of flown under the radar. So this is prime time, center stage to get. This is my opportunity to show that I can play against those guys in that kind of environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely, seem to step up to the plate in those situations and thrive. So next one here is going to be a little different than the others in that it's a putback here. So you really happen to catch this and cock it back and get a really nice putback here. What's your sort of mentality when crashing the offensive glass? Is that something that you think that you'll be able to continue to do at the next level and add some value by scrapping together a few extra possessions here and there?
For sure. I think that offensive rebounding is a skill in the league right now that you don't really see a lot of people like taking pride in. So our mentality when it comes to offensive rebounding is any chance to get an extra bucket is an opportunity that I'm willing to take. And our coaching staff did a good job of, instilling that in us and just letting us know how important each possession is and how each individual offensive rebound can add up and ultimately, lead us to victory in close games too.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think you do a good job of like having some balance and versatility in your offensive game in that, you can get these poster dunks, you can get these offensive rebounds, but then the next thing that we're going to get into is your shooting as like kind of a stretch forward here. And I think that, one thing that stood out to me is that your shooting percentages have increased year over year from everywhere, right? From 3, from 2, and from the line. And that's really promising from like a development and shot projectability perspective to the next level. So this one, we got a little pick and pop action going here. You want to maybe just, if I take this back to the top of the video, just kind of tell me, what you're seeing here aside from this kind of ugly blue court that you had to deal with.
Well, the play call was 4 low. We start 4 flat set.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much just a high middle pick and pop read situation. So as you can see, they switched. It was almost like they didn't switch at first because it was like a flat hedge, but it looked like an emergency switch.
Yeah.
And in practice and anytime that I have to work on my 3, as you said, my improvement, I've been trying to really focus on improving my consistency and making sure the shots that I take are good shots and they have a high percentage of going in. So this is a shot that I work on all the time. So I just knew that any space that I have, once my feet are set and I get a good look at that rim, the show's over. The show is over.
Yeah, and I think the pick and pop is going to be kind of your bread and butter at the next level. And you set a really good screen here to start, right? Because this guy kind of he tries to get physical with you, throw a little bow and get through it, but it slows him up enough that exactly what you were saying, they kind of get stuck in between switching or just hedging and recovering. And, you do a really nice job with your footwork here of smoothly transitioning into your jumper. So, seeing you continue to get better and better at this year over year, especially with, how the game is played in the NBA today, you need to have, a 4 that can get out there and stretch it out to 3 and hit these in addition to those clips earlier in the paint that we were talking about.
Yeah, man.
So moving on to the next clip here, you're matched up against Cincinnati. And this one, I think we'll see a little handoff and kind of similar pick and pop to start, but then you end up kind of like rejecting it, right? Like he's kind of like icing it a little bit here. And I think you do an awesome job of reading this. So what exactly is going through your head when you see him sort of forcing your guy baseline and icing it? What are you supposed to do as the pick and roll screener in that situation?
Well, there's two situations that can happen right here. It's not clear to see the first one in this clip, but if Tyson was to drive baseline, I can just dive straight to the rim, and I'd have if depending on if that help defender is there, I should have a wide open dunk.
Right.
So that would be the first read if he was to drive, and the second read is what I did. My defender is all the way over, trying to prevent Tyson from getting to the rim.
Yeah.
And Tyson's defender is just shadowing him and trying to keep him baseline. So I knew ultimately it would turn into a double team and a closeout for me, either his defender or my defender. So again, any time and space that I have when my feet set, I know it'll be a good shot, high percentage shot.
Yeah, that's just a really high level read, man. Like you see a lot of this kind of coverage in the NBA. Like anytime there's a side pick and roll action, like a lot of teams go to this blue or ice coverage, and your ability to kind of read this, give your guy some time if he does want to drive. But then once you see your big starting to cheat and help there already, that's just an awesome read. And again, really smooth, nice footwork, and you get it off over, I think, who's that vote there? That's like about a 7-footer. So just really nicely done. And again, great recognition and high IQ play by you out there on the perimeter.
Appreciate that, man.
And I think we might have one more here on the offensive side. Let's see what we got on this one. Yeah, so I really like this one and showing that, you're not just, a paint guy or pick and pop guy, but you can also run off of some screens and, read and react to how the defenders are chasing you. So you want to maybe talk me through on this one as this thing's developing, what your sort of read is and how you end up navigating this screen down on the baseline.
Well, it was a single down pin down on the weak side.
Yep.
So my defender has two options. He can either chase me or jump to the ball side.
Yep.
To get to the high side of the screen. If he was to chase me, I would have just continued up closer to Tyson, catching the ball around maybe the elbow or that slot area close to the middle. But I see that there was a lot of space, so I knew he was going to try and jump the pass. So the moment I saw him go onto the ball side, I just stopped where I was at and set up for a nice clean three.
Yeah, that was awesome recognition again. Like exactly what you said. Those are the two reads you make as to how he's playing you, and you see you end up planting your foot right here at the perfect time where he has no angle to chase you out here based on exactly what you did with your footwork again there on the perimeter, and then again nice smooth three. So great recognition by you there again, and I think your versatility on the offensive end definitely stands out. And wanted to cap this with a big bucket here at the end on the road. That's easily NBA range there. That's a deep one. Was this one of your sort of favorite individual plays of the season here?
100%. And it's funny because this was like one of my worst games of the season. One of my worst offensive games of the season. But when that ball touched my hands, and I don't know what it is, man. It's like you get hyper focused in those moments. I live for those moments. And I just knew my team was counting on me. We did everything we needed to do to come back. Like Tyson hit 2 threes back to back. We made the stops down the stretch. That ball touched my hands, and it felt so good to tie the game for my teammates so we can win. Win.
Sometimes that's how it happens. Like with these big shots, a lot of times it's when a guy's having an off day, then you kind of can come back and have that big moment at the end, and then it kind of all wipes away the tough stuff that preceded it. But this was a huge bucket, and you see your team all hyped there again. Is it weird playing at Vanderbilt? I've always wanted to ask with these, like the way that their benches are set up and everything. Like,
yeah, it's different for sure. Different for sure.
I bet it was good to get out of there with a win and obviously redeem yourself there with that deep NBA three.
Yeah, felt great, man.
So I think we're going to touch on just 2 quick plays for potential improvement areas offensively. And I think they're just kind of centered around like handling the ball and playmaking for others and kind of getting more comfortable with the ball in your hands as an attacker, right? So this one's in transition. And I think this ends up being a little bit of just a miscommunication, if I'm not mistaken, where he maybe calling for a lob and you end up throwing the little zinger bounce pass. Do you think that maybe like, getting out on the break and initiating transition possessions is an area that you could like kind of improve on a little bit?
100%. And that's part of what I've been working on since I've been home during this quarantine time is my weaknesses. Ball handling and defense have been presented to me as my weaknesses. And they've been it's shown. It shows in the film. So I've been definitely working really hard to improve most in those categories.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're like a very lethal half court player. Like, I think, your efficiency is kind of off the charts there, but like just cleaning some of this up in transition. And like you said, the handler will be huge for you and like just really help to round out your offensive game, I think. And here's just one more example, driving to the hoop, getting a little bit caught up, some help side defense comes, just gives you a little bit of trouble here.
Yeah.
Just becoming more comfortable with that stuff because I think you have the skill set to do it, and it's definitely very easily improvable. And it seems like you're doing the right things now to like focus in on those and kind of continue to develop those so that when you get to the professional level, you're a little more comfortable with them, right?
Yeah, 100%. And for me, it's pace. I've always said that pace has been an area where I struggle. Like in that clip that we just watched, I caught the ball and just immediately went right without even seeing what was available to me.
Yeah.
If I take my time and give him a hard dribble right in, if you like the whole entire the left lane to the basket is wide open. If I give him a slow hesitation move that'll bring me back to my left hand, the left hand is open, and I can make the plays on the left side instead of dribbling into a triple team and turning the ball over. So. I'm telling you, man, that's been the biggest part of my improvement process since I've been home. I've been really trying to focus on, getting used to being deceptive and making the right reads and not rushing.
Yeah,
with the ball in my hands.
Exactly. Just slowing it down just a little bit will make, I think, a world of a difference. And then you maybe even, can add a little bit more drive and kick here too, right? Because you draw a ton of help defense because you get to the rim, you're really relentless and, assertive in getting to the rim. And if you just can keep that in mind and have your eyes up, there's going to be, when you get to the professional level, even more shooters spacing the floor out for you. So, having your head up for these driving kicks or skip passes and things like that, I think, could add another element to your game as well.
100%.
So now I think we're going to pop over to the defensive side of the ball. And I know you highlighted that as an area of feedback as maybe an improvement area. I think you're a pretty solid all-around defender. And I mean, obviously there's always room to improve, but we wanted to hit on, definitely some high effort plays. I feel like you're pretty consistently engaged on the defensive end. And here I think is a great way to start it off. Same game that you said you were struggling in offensively earlier, but you really were working your tail off on the defensive end here. They try to set this double screen here for the shooter, and you just blitz it right up the middle like a linebacker breaking off double coverage there and just get out there and somehow block this shot. What's your kind of outlook and mentality when you're, shirt tailing shooters and that you're matched up against a guy that they're going to be running these kinds of plays for? Because I mean, this is obviously one of the best shooters in the country, and Aaron Nesmith. So when you're guarding somebody like that, what is your approach?
It's interesting because I haven't really had the opportunity to guard players like Nesmith and where all the plays are run for him. Like
Yeah.
you're going to be chasing him all game. It's a bit of a unique case for me, you know.
Yeah.
So it's probably why a lot of the clips, especially in this game, have been effort because like in this clip too, I try to go ball side and get hit by the second screen. If I chase him, then I'm not even in that position.
Yeah.
I make a good effort play recovery, but a bigger screen, a better screen, that's a wide open three.
Sure.
You know, so effort, I'm always gonna give 100% effort no matter what. Once I'm out there on the court, I'm gonna give my all. So going forward, I definitely have to have a better approach in terms of which angles I take and having a better mindset of how to contain a defender, and a player like Aaron Nesmith. But effort. I'm going to bring effort to the table no matter what.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of times, what you spoke about is super important, like taking the angles and making sure you're brushed up on the scouting report and what his tendencies are, what the team tendencies are, what they like to run. That's all important, but that baseline of effort and engagement and will is definitely, if you don't have that, the other stuff doesn't matter. So on this clip right here, I think it just particularly highlights that aspect and that you really seem to care on the defensive end, right?
Yeah.
So now we're moving on to the next clip here, South Florida. So I think what we're going to see here is you help really well in the paint. Maybe you can talk me through kind of from the top of the possession exactly what you're seeing and your reads throughout the possession, but I think it's a good example of helping then recovery thereafter.
All right. So I think this clip starts with Jolly has to fight around two pin downs to stagger for him. So my initial position is help to make sure that I think that's Collins is coming off the pin down at the very end. Try to make sure he doesn't get a clean catch, but Tyson actually recovers pretty well and forces him into a baseline drive. So I know that I have to make sure that he doesn't get all the way to the rim clean.
Yep. Because
Tyson is in a chasing position. So I'm just trying to protect the basket and get to the baseline before he does. So we meet at the same time. He doesn't get a layup, but he still has the window to make the pass. So I know that somebody's going to be out of position. And it's me, really, because my guy is relocating to the corner, and Kendrick has the help. He would essentially have the baseline. He'd be guarding the two guys on the weak side, but my guy isn't there yet, so he has to close out to the first pass or the second pass, I think. So pass comes out, and I just know nobody's gonna take my guy.
Look at your reaction right here. You can see you're just
I know nobody's gonna take him, and he's wide open. He's a knockdown shooter. He's one of the better shooters in the conference. So I know I have to at the very least contest it. I had no idea I was gonna block it, but I was trying my hardest to get out there and make sure he doesn't get a clean look, and I ended up blocking it. So
I mean, this is just a great all around possession, and hearing you speak through it right now. I think it's really evident how well you know the game and rotations and know where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do within the context of team defense, which I think a lot of times can be overlooked and is really crucial to a young player beginning their career at the professional level. A lot of times guys don't understand those types of things or the concepts of team defense and help side and rotation. I think you definitely understand all that and have a good feel for all of that. And that really shows through in this clip particularly.
Yeah, man, it's important. It can be overwhelming, but
sure.
I've been blessed enough to have a pretty good base and supporting system that has taught me so much. I've picked up a lot of this stuff within 6, 7 years, right?
Right. Yeah, so it's good that you've, been able to pick up on all of that and really, be able to combine that understanding and intellect with the effort that we were talking about earlier. Because again, the effort comes into play here at the end in closing out, right? Like it's all IQ and understanding till right here. And then you just sprint your ass off and end up getting the block with that effort again to close out the play. So, love to see that combination of IQ and effort defensively. Next, we're moving on to Tulane here. So I think what we're highlighting on this one is kind of your ability to, switch on to some guards, right? Because you're gonna be caught in a lot of high pick and rolls at the next level, right? And playing the full, and you're gonna run into a lot of situations just like this. So do you want to maybe talk me through when we start right here, kind of what? I guess he's who you were covering at the beginning of the play, right? But, maybe just talk me through the initial pick and roll read and then the contain thereafter when he's driving to the rim.
Well, initially I drop all the way back to the 3-point line because I didn't want to get in a situation where my big man has to run all the way out to hedge and then run all the way back.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to shorten the distance that he has to run.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it helps in this situation because the guy that I'm guarding isn't really a 3-point shooting threat, especially coming off of the ball screen.
Yeah.
So my thing is just not allowing him to get middle and then just staying in front after that. So he takes the angle that I end up leaving because of the hedge, right? So he goes back, he spins back, right, and attacks that corner.
Mm-hmm. You're getting your hands there to try to deter the pass to the big, right?
Yeah, but as you can see, my big man we're like pretty much even. So that angle, he's almost screening me again. It's almost like he's screening me.
Yeah.
Right. So I get kind of caught into a recovery situation. So I just have to I take the contact and make it as hard as I possibly can for him to get a clean look. So without fouling, right? So
it's really, really good verticality, like being able to recover, have the foot speed and, the footwork to get back here in position. And it'd be really easy to foul the guy here.
Yeah.
All that action at the beginning of the play, but awesome job of just going straight up. And then you get to finish it with an emphatic block that goes out of bounds off him. And you end up, effectively creating a turnover in that situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, even though this guy's a non-shooting threat, your ability to kind of, cover out on the perimeter in pick and roll and kind of recover and, get back to your spot, beat guys to the spot, that's going to be key for you. And I think speaks to your defensive versatility. How many positions do you think that you could theoretically guard at the next level?
I'd say 3 to 4.
Yeah.
3 to 4 for sure. I'll definitely always give my effort, right? So if I'm the smaller guy in say a matchup against a 5, then I'm going to make it extremely tough for that guy to get clean catches, post ups, just make it physical, make it a physical battle. 4s, I can stay in front of 4s. I'm a 4 size, so
that's your natural position, right? 4.
I'd say 3-4.
Yeah.
Just being able to stay in front, right? I think I have the foot speed to stay in front of guards. I have the length to guard on the wing, right? So I think that I have the ability to guard multiple positions on the floor, maybe even 5.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think in spurts you could cover like in a small ball 5 type role, 3 and 4 pretty comfortably. Like those are, probably where you're most comfortable. And then in spot situations or on switches and pick and rolls and like, certain situations, I think you can bump up and guard some guards here and there, right? Like just have, there's not very many true 1 through 5 switch defenders. Like that's kind of a fallacy, right? Like there's not a lot that can truly do that at the NBA level but to be able to comfortably guard 2 positions and in spot situations, guard, up or down either way. I think that's all anyone could ask for. And I think that you could do some of that.
Yeah, 100%. Me too.
So I think next play here. So we're getting out in transition. And I mean, this block is just nasty. So I don't know how much analysis really goes into this one, but I had to include this here because, I mean, let me take this from the top again, because I want to pause it when this guy catches the ball and show how far away you are. Like, right, it kind of skips ahead, but you're basically gathering from the 3-point line and flying in and blocking that. Like, I don't even know how you make that happen, but you want to maybe just give me your quick 5-second spiel on chase down blocks and like what happened on this play and how you ended up getting to this and keeping it in bounds at that.
Well, like I said, I always just try my hardest when I'm out there, right? So yeah. Something like clicked when I seen him wind up to make the pass. I'm like, oh my goodness, this guy's about to get a wide open dunk. But by the time I recognize that the pass is about to come off, like I flip it into that second gear and end up getting there. So I didn't think that I was gonna get there at first.
Yeah.
But I made it up in my mind, like there's no way he's getting a dunk right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's impressive for you to time it out perfectly like this, because he goes into like a 2-foot gather, thinks he's going to get a nice, easy, soft flush there, and you perfectly time it off of 1 foot. And just, I mean, the backboard was probably shaking for a little bit after that one. That was a nasty block. So again, I think this has been consistent through all of your defensive clips that we've shown so far. The effort again shines through, right? And now this time it's in a transition setting as opposed to half court, and it's important to be able to do that too, because the pace in the NBA is as high as it's been in a long time. So to be able to get back and make an impact like that is huge. So this particular play, I don't think it's necessarily like all that negative. It's like a little bit of positive and a little bit of negative, right? Because you sort of do the right thing initially in, making your help side read here. You guys are pointing stuff out. You're calling out, where the help is and like who to switch on to who defensively. And you're right here in position till the very last second. But do you think, I don't know, you want to maybe talk me through your thoughts on this possession and kind of what happened and maybe how, ultimately you end up closing out hard again because you have that effort, but do you think that you could have played this any differently?
Yeah, 100%, especially after watching it. In the moment, it looks like I was going to take a charge because the scouting report is that he's a charge-prone guy.
Yeah.
Once he gets downhill, he's looking to make a play.
Yeah.
But I was in position early, and he recognized that and made a tremendous read. So I think I could have, in a situation like that, played with a little bit more deception. Like,
right,
it stunted the gap more and put myself in better position to recover to my guy. But after he made the pass, I just again tried my hardest to contest the three as hard as I could.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that, right? Because like Cumberland, like you're saying, like that's a guy who likes to put his head down, drive right, and like get to the bucket, maybe a short pull up, and you're in the right spot for that. So again, good recognition, good knowing the scouting report, and maybe you set up for the charge a little too early, so you're a little bit vertical and not as quickly able to like pop out to the corner and get back to your guy. Yeah. But like you said, the effort's there, and you end up getting a decent closeout out of it. But I think just this is just like a very minor. This is nitpicking, right? Like this is a possession where a guy made a good play on you, but just being able to pop out there and maybe get a little better closeout by just being in a better defensive position and stance right here would have been helpful, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, not a bad play. Guy makes a shot early in the game. You live with it. And then we have one more Vandy clip right here. So we'll let this thing roll. And I think what we're pointing out here is that, you're covering Neesmith like we were talking about earlier, and, they end up running a little bit of a hammer action here at the end, get caught up in it.
Yeah.
I guess, do you want to maybe speak to, again, you said you didn't have a ton of opportunity to cover guys like this throughout the year they're running all these actions for and running off all these different types of screens, and it's all designed for them. But you want to maybe speak to like when you're covering a guy like this, how maybe it changes your approach from a help defense perspective, right? Because like normally what you did is the exact right thing to do and your positioning is correct here. But against a guy like Neesmith, it's a little bit different, right? You want to maybe speak to that?
Right. So guarding a guy like Neesmith, there's a little need for me to help.
Yeah.
Because the offense essentially runs through him. So in a situation like this, I shouldn't have gone straight down to the baseline. I should have chased Neesmith or gone on the outside of the screen.
It sounds so silly, right? Because it's like you almost never do that. Like that's very much against your normal help principles, but this is just like such a unique situation, right?
Yeah, but that's the change that I have to make when that's my responsibility, right? So I have to always keep in mind that the basic principles that we've worked on all year don't apply to me this game, because the main goal is stopping the best shooter in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, just something to keep in mind is like, as you get up to the next level, there's going to be a lot of guys that, have that size on the wing and can shoot like that. So, it's going to be tricky trying to maintain that balance of, what your help principles are. And like in the clips earlier, we showed how high your IQ is in making those reads and reactions and rotating and stuff. But then it's tough to be able to turn that switch off in special search situations like that, where a player's just such a bona fide sniper. So again, that's like a kind of nitpicking thing. Like I think you're a really solid all around defensive player that really gets it and, has the effort consistently, can guard multiple positions, but just something to keep in mind as the talent rises at the next level, that there's going to be guys that can do a little bit of everything and shoot like that. So something to be aware of. For sure.
And it's partially why I've been working so hard, being able to develop my ability to guard more, and I've been watching a lot of film with my AAU coach, just trying to improve my all-around game, just make myself as valuable as possible.
For sure. And while we're on the topic of making yourself as valuable as possible for the next level, I wanted to give you sort of the chance to be able to express to NBA teams out there that might be considering, drafting you or bringing you into their organization, who is Isaiah Mike and what value can you bring to an organization both on and off the court?
I'm a worker, first and foremost. Effort will always be a part of my DNA. I'll always be willing to work for everything that I have. You're gonna get a guy who cares about his teammates, who cares about the culture of the organization, who cares about the success of the organization, and I'll do everything in my power to bring success to the organization. And a family guy who's loving and caring. There's not much to it, man. Basketball and family is all I really have, right? So I'm always gonna give my all. Always gonna give my all, no matter what.
That's great, man. I mean, I think teams are looking for guys who have their priorities in order and have, are mature young guys that are ready to come in and contribute and can prioritize things in what's going to be a big lifestyle change, right? So it seems like you have, the capacity for making that adjustment and like really kicking it into being a professional and figuring out the best ways that you can work to continuously improve and add value in whatever way the team sees fit, right? So I think that's great. And I think, a lot of teams will really see that as they begin interviewing you here as the pre-draft process continues to roll along. I know it's extended the whole way to October now, which is pretty crazy. But I'm definitely going to be wishing you the best going forward. Looking forward to seeing how your professional career kicks off here, and just wishing you the best of luck, man. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much, Jon. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too. Peace.